Hi, my name is Marissa Bozarth, Museum Curator of History for Burlington County. We're going to be doing a series that takes you inside the Lyceum's collection to show you some of the artifacts that we have obtained over the years that maybe have never been on display and you don't get the chance to see all of the time. So this artifact is what they call an indenture or a land deed. This is part of a collection that we recently received from Burlington Historical Society for land in Springfield Township. The deeds that we received all date from between 1759 and 1791 for the same family. They are all for the Ridgeway family that was in Springfield. This is the earliest one that we have. And you could see down at the bottom where they were all signing. So down here is James and Ann Cattell. The Cattells are who Lot Ridgeway was going to be purchasing 126 acres from. We came to learn that the reason they were selling the land is they purchased it a few years prior and couldn't pay their mortgage on the land, so they had to give it up. And Lot Ridgeway came in and purchased all 126 acres from them, including any buildings. Anything that was on the land at that moment became his. Now, trying to determine where exactly the property is kind of a challenge because nothing is written like our deeds today. So everything is measured out in chains and links, and there are no buildings, there are no roads referenced or anything like that. It just says Springfield Township, X amount of chains from the oak tree, and the corner is at the stone. Well, I have no idea where that is unless somebody would reference a waterway that can kind of give you a little bit of direction. So it was a little bit of a challenge to try and figure out where the Ridgeways are buying all of their land. And there's a little bit of a clue at the bottom. The witnesses to this deed are down here in the corner, and they are Samuel Lippincott, Hannah West, and Joseph Arney. So if you're familiar with Springfield Township, Arney's Mount sits, it's probably the most prominent spot in Springfield Township. So we immediately thought, Joseph Arney, I wonder if that's where Arney's Mount comes from, which it is not this particular person, but it's in his family. That is where the name originates from. And all of these people, including the Lippincotts, the Ridgeways, and the Cattells, are all buried at the Friends Meeting House on Arney's Mount. So it took us to some maps. Most of the maps that we were able to find do not give you names of who's living anywhere that date back to the time of the deed. So it was a little bit difficult, but in searching some census records, we were able to find some ancestors and some other relatives of Lot Ridgeway. Lot's a little bit of a unique first name. So lucky for us, he had a son he named Lot Jr., and the name kind of stuck with them, so you could trace them a little bit. And we came to find out that the property they purchased was right over the Northampton border on the Monmouth Road. So we were able to then trace where they lived, and we found out that it was in a little area that became known as Chambers Corners. It is right where Monmouth Road and Route 206 cross. There's a little triangle on the map if you look from an aerial, and it became known as Chambers Corners because eventually throughout history the Chambers family purchased most of that land. What we find the most interesting about it is we come to learn through research is that Lot continued to purchase land, and we have all of those deeds until he owned about 300 acres in that area of Springfield. And so we could trace that land all the way through until almost 1800 and how it became to be a much larger plot. And we could see through census records that he owned significant livestock. So he had a fully active farm on this property. He owned several horses, 20, 30 sheep. He had pigs, cows, pretty much everything you need to have an active farm there. So they were a very successful family in the area. For us here at the Lyceum, the thing that we found probably the most interesting about it is we came to learn that he was neighbors to the Langstaff family in Springfield. The Langstaffs are who eventually would build the home that the Lyceum is housed in 1830. So it kind of brings back that connection to the Langstaffs being neighbors with the Ridgeways, being located at Chambers Corners, and now we have kind of some connections of where all that land came from and how it all fell into the hands of the families that became prominent in Burlington County. So thank you for watching this video today. Again, I'm Marissa Bozarth, Museum Curator of History for Burlington County. And I hope you enjoyed learning about some of our artifacts. And I hope you'll join us again next month when we feature another artifact. And you can come visit us at the Lyceum in Mount Holly to learn even more.